Thanks for checking out this video. So this is the kickoff to the 1970s horror movie Superlatives series that I'm doing in collaboration with your friendly neighborhood Uncle Pete. People seem to like the 1980s. You voted and you said 1970s needs to be the next. So here we're starting the first video with 1970, obviously, because that's where you start. And we'll have a video out every Wednesday. So when I say we, I mean I will have a video out the same day at the same time each Wednesday, and so will your friendly neighborhood Uncle Pete, who I have linked in my description. So watch this video, watch his video, come back to my channel, go to the community page, and vote on who you liked most picks-wise. Now I will say this, as far as the year 1970 goes, had not seen a ton of films from 1970, so I had to watch a bunch kind of last minute. But after that, it gets a lot better. I've seen a lot more after 1970. I think that was kind of the same situation for Uncle Pete as well. But that said, let's get into it. Let's have some fun. Oh, and feel free in the comments on my channel and on his channel to put your personal picks or what your feelings on our picks. Also, make sure you subscribe to my channel as well as his channel. We really appreciate the support, and also hit the notification bell button because then you'll know when we're putting up videos. So, starting with the best category, the most amazing film from 1970 for me this is not going to be a big surprise for people, Hatchet for the Honeymoon. This is a Mario Bava Giallo film that isn't just a Mario Bava Giallo film, which are, well, I mean, all Bava films are known to be beautiful, very well shot. This one is no exception. It is wonderfully, amazingly beautiful. The acting's really well done in it. The story is quite interesting and unique, in my opinion. And the twist I did not see coming. It literally, early on, is from the perspective of a killer. Which you'd think, as for a Giallo film, like, to do it from the perspective of a killer, that kind of like flies in the face of what Giallo really is. Because it's about trying to figure out at the end who is the actual killer. So this is kind of like a reverse Giallo in a way, and for that reason I think it's a really interesting concept. It's executed extremely well. Like I said, it's beautifully shot because it's Baba, but this is such a fun ride, and I actually think, I mean, this could have been in most unique, this could have been in most underrated. I mean, I have so much love for Hatchet for the Honeymoon. Cannot say enough. That's why it's my most amazing pick for 1970. I only own one other film from 1970 that's on my list, just so you know, so I won't have a visual aid for all of them. So let's go to the best So Bad It's Good film. Now that is going to go to a film that's, at the moment, streaming on Shudder. Dream No Evil. That film is wacky, wild, and fun because it's kind of a So Bad It's Good. The acting is not good, which helps with being So Bad It's Good. It's basically about a woman who's doing a high diving kind of like carnival attraction type thing for a traveling preacher. And it looks like it's done in like the Dust Bowl. It is very odd. Like the whole concept is very, very odd. She then decides she's going to go looking for her actual father. She finds a house where her father lived. And then it's this thing of like, is she having a waking nightmare, a like daydreaming? Is she losing it? Is this actually happening? But she finds her father. There's a bunch of weirdness that ensues, a lot of weirdness, including this very oddly placed impromptu accordion playing that goes on, complete with her dancing to it in a very weird way. I can't say enough about how odd this film is, but in a very enjoyable, weird way. And it comes together in the end in a fun way that's actually pretty good horror. It's pretty fun. So I do highly recommend Dream No Evil. It's wacky. It's out there. It's a fun time. Like I said, it's on Shudder at this point when I'm doing this video. So next we need to go to the most WTF film of 1970. And this actually may be the most WTF film I've ever seen in my life. No lie. It is called The Howl. And it is obviously 1970. It's an Italian film. And it's hard to describe. It is literally like a crazy, feverishly fast-paced nightmare sequence is what the entire film is. I can't even tell you what it's actually about because it doesn't really even necessarily seem to be about anything straightforward. It's like this big mix of like sexuality. There's tons of nudity in it, including full-on beaver shots, a section of a guy actually beating it on camera, like some interesting like kink related sexual stuff going on in the film, and politics all over the place that I can't understand because it's 1970 Italy. So, to someone who knows the politics of that time, I'm sure they could pull something out of this film, but it's all done so fast. The cuts are so quick. Everything seems to be like out of the blue and out of nowhere. The characters are so over the top and wacky. The English dubbing is insanely weird and over the top. This film it's nuts. There's like a Benny Hill style running around chasing sequence. Like the music is nuts. It's just I don't know. Like it's hard to describe. I I want to say recommended for people who like really WTF out there films, but it's also like not a fun film to watch, to be honest. It's just kind of like experience it once maybe if you want to. But I will say that there is animal cruelty in it. So what I did, because I knew this going into it, whenever there's an animal on screen, I just kind of put my hand in front of my face so I couldn't see the screen until I assumed everything was safe. So just know that. But yeah, The Howl, most WTF film of 1970, probably of my lifetime that I have ever seen. I mean, I wasn't alive when the film came out, but that I've seen in my life. It's something. Okay, then that leaves us to the best gore category, which is, no big surprise, The Wizard of Gore. Herschel Gordon Lewis was very well known for being very brutal, having great gore effects, putting a lot of gore and a lot of interesting kills in his films. And The Wizard of Gore is one of those, and it's extremely gory. It has good kill scenes that are very prolonged, including people being, sawed open and just guts being pulled out all over the place, eye gouging happening that's unflinching. Like, it is just chock full of gore, and it's 100% the best gore film of 1970. It's even in the title, Wizard of Gore. It's not a good film. Like, story-wise, it's like barely there as a film. It's about the shock value. It's about the gore. It's about the kills. And if that's what you're looking for, this is the film for you. And I would recommend watching it in that case. But it's a lock. The Wizard of Gore is my best gore pick for 1970, obviously. Now we're going to the most unique film, and that's going to go to another Giallo film, Dario Argento's The Bird with the Crystal Plumage. Now, the reason I put this on most unique, well, first of all, I like Hatchet for the Honeymoon more than this film, so that's why this got the edge for most amazing, but The Bird with the Crystal Plumage is definitely unique, and one of the main reasons it's unique is it basically, A, made Dario Argento way more famous than he was. This is kind of what put him on the map, and it, B, created the framework for what Giallo would then be known as and what everyone else would try and duplicate when it came to making Giallo films. The story, the violence, the kills, the look of it, the use of color that ends up getting used in this. And this actually kicked off Argento's trilogy of the animal films, being The Bird with the Crystal Plumage, Four Flies on Grey Velvet, and Cat o' Nine Tails. So this is a very important film, and it was very unique because of how it really kickstarted things. Like, it literally started the craze around Giallo films that lasted for probably the 4 years after that. And then you get a few smattered here and there after those 4 years, but very heavily from 70 to 74. So, The Bird with the Crystal Plumage by Dario Argento is my most unique film of 1970 for that reason, for those reasons. Now going to the most overrated. Now, this is probably not a film a lot of people know about, but I'm picking it as my most overrated because I don't even think it's necessarily a horror film, even though it's actually characterized as one genre-wise. It's called Blood Mania. This film is awful. I cannot recommend it. It's not fun. It seems to be a lot more geared towards like the sexual aspect of it, which I feel like you get a good amount of these types of films from this time period, but a lot more about the sexuality. It's called Blood Mania, and there's almost no blood in the film. There's no good kill scenes. There's no interesting characters. There's no interesting story. It's just basically about money struggles in a family. in essence. You know, a guy who's being blackmailed, so he gets with this woman whose father ends up passing away because she actually ends up killing him. But I will say that the way he dies is hilarious to me. Like, he literally, like, she gives him some smelling salts that are supposed to mess with his, I think he has angina, and he like initially doesn't react to it while he's like sleeping, and then all of a sudden pops out of bed and is like, and like dies like that. Like, it is wacky. And then she, after right after killing him, starts masturbating in a mirror. Now, this is actually making the film sound kind of enticing, but no, it's not. Those are probably the most interesting things about the film, but it is not good. It is not very horror related. Yes, there's a horror aspect that pops in at the very end, but there's no good kills. There's a gigantic lack of blood for a film called Blood Mania, and this film just fizzles out in the end. So I'm just picking this as my most overrated film just because, as being categorized as a horror film, it's most overrated just being categorized as a horror film and what it is. It's ridiculous. So that's my pick for most overrated. So now going to the final pick is most underrated. And this film is Scream and Scream Again. Now, I feel like for most of you, all I need to tell you is the cast of this film: Christopher Lee, Peter Cushing, Vincent Price. That's probably all I need to say for some people in order for them to be like, I'm checking this film out right now. It is delightful. Obviously, the performances in it are wonderful. My favorite being Vincent Price. He plays this kind of like mad scientist type person. There's a vat of acid in the film that gets used to great effect. There's a serial killer going around town who's draining people of their blood. So it's kind of like a Frankensteinish mad scientist mixed with a vampire serial killer. It's a crazy, wacky, over the top story, but it works. It's actually a legit good film. It has a cool twist at the end. It's got a lot of fun on the way there. There's a scene of this dude just like falling down the side of a cliff face after he was like supernaturally like scurrying up it. It's nuts, but in the best way possible. It's actually a really good film. It's a lot of fun. And like I said, Vincent Price, I think it's one of my favorite Vincent Price performances actually that I've seen. Loved him in this. He just chooses scenery. But like I said, Peter Cushing and Christopher Lee also in this, so you cannot pass this film up. Scream and Scream Again. That is my pick for most underrated for 1970. And that rounds it out. Those are my picks. Tell me what you think of my picks. Tell me what you think Uncle Pete's picks. Make sure you watch his video as well as mine. Subscribe to both our channels. Hit the notification bell buttons. Come back to my channel. Go to the community tab and go ahead and vote for who you liked most. It's a friendly competition. He won for 1980, so I will be reviewing. He picked for me to review the Amityville Horror, so I will have that review coming out hopefully this week, if not the week after that, probably. So yeah, and we're going to do the same thing. Same things on the line for the 1970s. Whoever gets the most wins for all of the years will end up being the person who gets to choose a video or a movie for the other person to cover on their channel. So yeah, that's what we're doing. So yeah, thank you everyone. I know a lot of you have stuck with us through the 1980s ones, and you had a lot of fun. So 1970s are also going to be a lot of fun. Thank you for being with us. Thanks for checking out these videos, and until next time, keep it brutal.